Kuzampo and a very warm welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program with me, Samtan Dolkar. Our top stories this week. Government reviews handing off some state-owned enterprises to the private sector. A WHO classified disorder, gaming addiction, could also be prevalent among Bhutanese. National Referral Hospital hopes to resume MRI services by May. The government is looking at doing away with some of the state-owned enterprises and handing it over to the private sector. For this purpose, a task team committee is currently reviewing the 16 existing SOEs across the country. The committee's review report is expected to be presented to the government after 3 months.
At the Friday meet yesterday, Finance Minister Namgyal Tsering informed the media that a committee was formed after discussion with relevant agencies. Terms of reference was also drafted for the review. Based on the report, the government will facilitate the capacities of private sector to undertake state-owned enterprises.
Individual private lunga chi technical backstopping pinshim da bebe the kholu chitunegi the mapa that objective than in the long run, even in some SOEs, completely state-owned by membership, the PPP model, public-private partnership, how private can play a vital role in the SOEs.
After the submission of the review report, the government will decide whether to dissolve some of the SOEs or to continue having it. If required, the government will hand it over to the private sectors. Since there are no rules of procedures for the functioning of corporate board and management at the moment, the Finance Minister shared that the Corporate Governance Manual was framed to streamline the functions of the SOEs.
For their purpose, in line with the Companies Act, we have drafted and produced that Corporate Governance Manual. On the SOEs, under the directive of the government and the Honorable Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, we are seriously looking into redefining and trying to review the rationale, the logic behind why we want to have all these SOEs.
Currently, there are 16 registered SOEs under the Finance Ministry. This is Sonam Chodan for BBS News.
Bhutan will be graduating from the least developed country category by 2023. However, the United Nations agencies and the country's other development partners have assured of their assistance even after the country's graduation. This was a promise made during the 14th Roundtable meeting. The continued support is expected to help with the country's smooth transition from the LDC category.
The United Nations General Assembly at its 73rd session last year endorsed Bhutan's graduation from the least developed country or LDC category by 2023. Many had predicted that this transition would put an end or reduce grants and aids the country has been receiving as a least developed country. But speaking at a press conference yesterday, United Nations Resident Coordinator Gerald Daly shared assistance from the development partners would continue even after 2023.
And we will continue to be supporting this great country after 2023. As the UN Resident Coordinator in Bhutan, responsible both directly and indirectly for as many as 25 UN agencies that work in this country, I can tell you that I take responsibility to provide relevant, coherent and effective support to the Royal Government of Bhutan. We are here to serve.
Over 100 participants from Bhutan's development partners took part in the 14th Roundtable meeting held in the capital. For the first time, representatives from private sector, civil society organizations, registered political parties and the National Council members also attended the 3-day meeting. This inclusive participation was in line with the government's policy of inclusive and participatory approach for the common future.
I'm very happy to inform that we had more than 50 development partners, both bilateral and multilateral, who attended the Roundtable meeting, and of whom 32 development partners took the floor to make a statement of support in various forms to the Royal Government and to the 12th Five-Year Plan.
The foreign minister added, assistance from the development partners would, however, not be in financial aids and grants, but through different engagements. All these, he shared, will help the country shift from an aid-based country to a trade-based one. For Pema Sawang, Phup Game for BBS News.
Studies and experts have often identified efficient public transport system as a key to addressing the growing traffic congestion in Thimphu. Taking this into account, the Thomde is planning to start bus rapid transit system in the city within the next 3 years.
Through the project, a 4-lane expressway will be developed from Ngabi-Roncho in the south to the Chancholing in the north. Of it, 2 lanes will be designated only for buses as part of the bus rapid transit system. The BRT system, already implemented in many countries across the world, has proven to shorten travel time and reduce traffic congestion. As part of the project, the Thomde is currently working on the road between Yongjina and Taba with financial support from the World Bank.
At the moment, we do not have a 4-lane road from the India House in Yongjina till the old High Court. The distance must be around 3 kilometers. So we have to widen the stretch for the project.
With the BRT system in place, waiting time for city buses will also be reduced. This in turn is expected to encourage people to use public transport.
As per the plan, we will start with 34 buses along the expressway. If 17 buses are traveling towards north, another 17 will be heading southwards. This will help bring down the waiting time at bus stops. People will have to wait for about 10 minutes only.
In the meantime, Thimphu Thomde and Bhutan Post will purchase about 40 additional buses. This is in anticipation that traffic congestion in the city will only worsen over the years. Giletem for BBS News.
The World Health Organization has classified gaming addiction as a disorder. In the 11th revision of International Classification of Diseases released last year, WHO listed the addiction as a mental health condition for the first time. The International Classification of Diseases is the basis for identification of health trends and statistics globally. ICD-11 will be presented at the World Health Assembly in May this year for adoption by member states and will come into effect from 2022.
It was only a few decades ago when video games were not that popular in Bhutan, but it has fast picked up. And with the advent of mobile phones, it has only added to the gaming culture in the country. Lately, an online multiplayer mobile game called PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, popularly known as PUBG, has picked up quite well in the country. The game has up to 100 players parachuting onto an island and scavenging for weapons to kill other players while avoiding getting themselves killed. There is even a Bhutan PUBG page on Facebook which regularly organizes PUBG tournaments for locals. One of the page administrators said, PUBG has taken over other popular games within the country and it's also one of the most downloaded games at the moment, so I would say it's really addictive and has messed up our sleep patterns. Bhutan has only picked up about 5 months ago. One of the main reasons for its popularity is it doesn't lag when we play, unlike other popular games that need a good internet connection. Meanwhile, earlier this year, Gujarat, a state in India, banned PUBG in a few of its cities as the game was leading to violent behavior among children and youth. It was found to be adversely affecting the studies and overall behavior, conduct and language of children. While a lot of countries are already grappling with the issue of game addiction, Dr. Chencho, a psychiatrist with the National Referral Hospital, says he has so far only received informal complaints from parents.
Parents bring some of the children because they're not doing well in school, or parents realize that the children are not socially interacting in the home, or they're not going out, so they're just locking themselves in their rooms. Or even when they're in the same room, they're all on this mobile, that they are not. So from some of these issues that surface and they come to us, we realize the root cause of the problem is children are getting actually lured or attracted or addicted into this internet and gaming.
Welcoming the decision to recognize the condition, Dr. Tsencho added that there are a lot of issues surfacing not just because of gaming but also because of internet and social media in general.
The more time they spend with this digital world, the virtual world, the less time they have for their normal world, such as interaction with your family, such as studying, or even pocket studying. Children compromise their sleep. They wake up the whole night and play these games. And then, of course, if they're going to school, they won't be able to attend classes or be attentive in the class, or they miss out a lot of things like physical activities, very important for growing up.
WHO describes gaming disorder as a pattern of persistent behavior so severe that it takes over other life interests. The symptoms include impaired control over gaming, increased priority given to gaming, and continuation or escalation of gaming despite negative consequences. And for it to be diagnosed, abnormal gaming behavior should be evident for a period of over at least 12 months. As per WHO, a decision to include gaming disorder in ICD-11 is based on the review of available evidence and consensus of experts from different disciplines and geographical regions. The inclusion of the disorder will follow the development of prevention and treatment programs and measures.
And so once you have that nomenclature and it's standardized, then we can actually have more communication. Professionals can communicate from all over the world. It's also good for then patients to actually accept that now what I have is an illness, is a disorder. I'm no more in the realms of whether I am I'm not. And then it's easier for us to educate the public, the masses, that this is a disease and that you should come for help.
Studies suggest that gaming disorder affects only a small proportion of people who engage in digital or video gaming activities. However, people who participate should be alert to the amount of time they spend on gaming activities. Sonampem for BBS News.
Much to their convenience, the rural population have been availing themselves of various public services online through the community centers. And now, local leaders of Sarpang feel there's a need to initiate similar arrangement for making payments, especially for rural timber, sand and boulder permits. At the recent Zongkak Tsoktu, the representatives said introducing online payment system through the community centers will save time and cost. Today, once the permits for rural timber, sand and boulder are approved, people have to visit the forest range offices in Gilifu or Sarpang to pay its fees.
For instance, a person will process rural timber permit online. Its approval comes through the same channel. However, to pay the permit fee, he or she has to visit Gilifu Forest Range office. That's why I feel availing the service is more of a hassle for the people.
ngajeki singi pha gi achi tharimsa jujugi bewajin ko na hombalu nimchi dele lok jowa nimchi dele lave ni lo achi.
The Divisional Forest Office of Sarpang will discuss the issue with its ministry.
I will consult my director as soon as possible. If the head office is fine with the community center operators accepting the permit fees on our behalf, I will inform the Zongkak Tsokdu secretary.
The House directed the office to put up a proposal to the ministry and submit its progress in the next sitting. Today, all 12 geoks of Sarpang have access to community centers with internet connectivity. For Karmaundi in Sarpang, Samton Dolkar, BBS News. It is expected to take some more time before the National Referral Hospital in Thimphu is able to resume its magnetic resonance imaging or MRI services. The hospital stopped providing this service some 7 months ago.
The country's only MRI machine is currently undergoing upgradation since it is past its lifespan. The scanner has been in use for about 12 years now. MRI is a safe, painless test that uses radio waves and energy from strong magnets to create detailed images of a body. Works to upgrade the machine began in October last year and were scheduled to be complete by early this year. The government provided around 40 million Newton for the project.
Initially, we had to shut down the machine due to some danger. The helium gas was, very less in the machine, and we had to shut down due to patient safety. I really cannot guarantee that the machine will be functional in another month or so, because all depends on the various stakeholders who are doing the work there. Now this machine, MRI, is a high-end machine, and they require different type of engineers who have to be called from India.
Reinstating the service got further delayed due to the reconstruction works at the MRI room. Prabha Katil, the hospital's head of biomedical engineering services, said all high-end medical equipment have certain pre-installation requirement. Similarly, the upgraded MRI scanner needs a stronger radio frequency shielding.
The delays due to the wall paneling. We have to complete the room before we start the actual installation. We don't have expertise in-house, and we have to depend on external sources. And also we don't have materials, MRI compatible materials readily available in the hospital. And we have to procure it based on the company's advice. That is further delaying the process.
Today, on an average, the National Referral Hospital sees about 2 to 3 patients in a week requiring MRI. And since the service was suspended, those patients requiring immediate MRI are sent to Siliguri. The hospital bears all the referral expenses, including the daily substances allowance. Choni Dama for BBS News.
A borrowed idea is always looked at critically in Bhutan, but the trash tag challenge seems to have settled well with the locals. Here, people are compelled to pick up trash in an area and post pictures on the social media to show the transformation. This is finally a challenge that makes sense. It could be an answer to the waste problem that has plagued Bhutan for decades. The challenge has become viral and people from across the country are posting pictures after cleaning an area. Taking up the challenge, Lode Rupten, a class 12 graduate, cleaned an area in Kalabazar in Thimphu along with his friends yesterday. They collected about 16 sacks of waste. The team took almost 4 hours to clean this area.
Trash tag challenge in Bhutan is only about 2 weeks old. My friend from the Philippines sent me the message for the challenge. So I accepted his challenge and I requested him to give me a week to identify a littered place. Following that, I planned this cleaning with the help of my 2 friends.
I stay in Paro, but I came here as soon as I heard my friends initiating a cleaning here. We will be uploading the photos after the cleaning, and others will take it as a challenge.
This area is very dirty and residents have dumped waste every day here. If we clean, I'm sure they will not dump waste here next time. So I don't think it is necessary to create awareness to the public. Trash tag challenge is very simple, and if we think it as our collective responsibility, it would be the best way to keep our country clean.
Now they will send trash tag challenge invitation to all their friends on social media. Social media users have started to clean up polluted areas near them and sharing their stories. Waste management being one of the pressing issues in the country, the Prime Minister said the government has a flagship program to address the issue. The Prime Minister's official Facebook page welcomes the initiative.
Until now, we know waste management is an issue. We know we have to do something on this, but we also know that Nobody is taking ownership on that. Everything is fragmented. Money that is intended for waste management is just thinly getting lost in the system. Every system has a waste management component, but no institute, no authority is taking responsibility on this. So I personally took initiative on this. I'm very, very interested. Something different must happen on waste management. So this will be taken care of there.
The original challenge dates back to 2015 to encourage people to pick up trash while they are out in the wild. But it died out eventually. In early this month, Brian Roman, an American, relaunched the challenge on social media, calling out bored teens. Since then, people across the globe have been picking up trash. Everyone is taking part in littering, and now is a chance for everyone to make an impact for the greater good. For Pematel, Samten Dolker, BBS News. The third generation mobile network, or 3G, has finally reached Lunana, one of the most remote gyeogs in the country. At midday on 16th March, Bhutan Telecom successfully launched the 3G network, which will benefit 6 villages in Lunana Gyeog.
Otherwise difficult with a 2G network, these are visuals the upgraded network made possible to share from the highland. Faster mobile internet network has reached the remote community ahead of grid electricity and motorable road.
Even if our parents or relatives are separated by mountains, with the BT's 3G network, we can have conversations like they're near. We will also get to update with the latest news in the country every evening.
Now we can use WeChat and make video calls. It has become really convenient. Before, we couldn't even connect a regular call properly.
I am happy with the 3G network here in Lunana. I can make video calls and browse Facebook and WeChat. I can video call my parents and relatives.
I am from Chaskar in Mongol. Last time when I came here, there was no mobile network. It remained so for about 3 months. Now that BT officials have fixed it with 3G network, I am able to meet my family members through phone.
It took 3 days for Bhutan Telecom technicians to install the equipment for 3G. The initiative is part of its corporate social responsibility. The office spent about 5 million Newton for the project, which includes the charges for hiring helicopter service to transport equipment. In an email statement, the general manager of Bhutan Telecom's marketing division said, "It gives us immense pleasure to be able to play a role in improving the livelihood of people in the remote areas. By doing so, we believe that we are playing an important role in the attainment of G and H." As per the 2017 Population and Housing Census record, about 700 people reside in Lunana Gyeog. Sharab Doji, BBS News.
Well, that's all we have for this week. Please do join us next week. Until then, this is Sampan Dolkar saying goodbye.